Well, I guess during a snowstorm is the best time to get your plow truck ready. Right? So it needs some TLC. I told myself I was going to drive it through the summer so I didn't have to do so much work to it in the winter right before I needed it. And well, here I am. So overall, not too bad. I did run it a couple times the past couple weeks. But left over from last year, one of the issues I was having, which is pretty common, is the torque converter lockup was very inconsistent. It would go in and out of lockup, it would go in and out of overdrive, and it was all over the place. 2 years ago, I had the same problem. I spent the money on a new throttle position sensor, and it solved it. So I could either spend another 90 bucks on a throttle position sensor, or for I think like 40 bucks, I got this TPS delete from Geno's that just bypasses the TPS, and you put it on a switch, and then you can dial it in. You can have it lock up early, you can have it lock up late. You can also do a lockup switch, which I have in this truck, and I believe the issue with it is the early revisions of the PCM for, the powertrain control. The early calibration revision doesn't allow that switch to work properly. So I can get the torque converter to lock, but it stays locked until I shut the truck off. So it's not usable at all. I still have the switch there. I'm not going to take it out, but I'm going to use this in place. So the first thing I do is find a spot to mount this inside the truck, drill a hole, route the cables, and then we're going to connect 3 wires together. It should be a pretty straightforward installation. So holes drilled in the dash. The one extra thing I'm going to do is take an extra piece of heat shrink and just put it over top of these terminals here because they are exposed. I'm not a big fan of that, especially, there is some metal structures underneath the dash and anything else. And just to cover up those wires, you don't have to worry about shorting anything out. So this quick piece of heat shrink, and we're going to get that, get that mounted up in the dash. Got the switch mounted in the dash. The nut that holds the knob on is a 7/16 nut. And then over here, I pulled the grommet out of the firewall just to make it a little bit easier to pass through. That grommet's there on the automatic trucks. If you have a stick truck, I don't think you have to worry about the throttle position sensor anyway, so this really wouldn't apply to you, but that's going to be the easiest place to get your wires through. Found it's easier, pull it out of the firewall, get your wires pushed in, and then put it back into the firewall. So I'm going to get that put back in, and then we have this end of the wire, and we will disconnect, the throttle position sensor down there. So we got the sensor unplugged. There is a seal that goes on the OD of that connector there. You're gonna remove that. I'd save it for later just in case you ever have issues or need to go back to the factory sensor or anything like that. I did replace the piece of shrink tube that they give you in the kit with the piece of stuff that I have laying around. The stuff that I have has the adhesive in it, so it's much stronger, thicker, better at holding everything out. And then additionally, because this thing only gets driven in shitty weather with salt, I'm going to just fill up these wires with some dielectric grease before I put the heat shrink over top of it. And then I'm also going to fill up the old sensor with dielectric grease as well. So got everything all heat shrink connected, zip tied up, out of the way as much as you can just to take some pressure off that, because the only thing holding it together is really the heat shrink. Got my emergency gallon of ATF back in place, and I think we're just about ready to go get this thing a test drive and make sure everything else is good. Just check the other fluids and stuff like that, and they're all good. So go for a little bomb around the street, get the plow hooked up, and see if I'm going to need it tomorrow morning. So after many other problems that are unrelated to putting the bypass in, the truck is back on the road. So currently we are in overdrive, torque converter locked, and I can simply just turn the knob and you'll see that it'll kick out of overdrive. You can see the RPMs raise up, and then I can turn the knob back to where it was and it locks back up. So you just kind of fine tune where it is. If you're towing, you may want it to lock up earlier or later, and then it also works in third gear. If you shut overdrive off on the dash, then you'll have lockup in third. Other than that, I mean, it pretty simple install. I'm happy with it so far, and if I have any issues, I'll keep you guys up to date, but that'll be it. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you later.